right now is well, it's more Fear's issue. Can they come back from this? Afro is running cleanse, and every time Afro runs cleanse, there's the possibility for some awesome micro. I think we actually saw double lift with the micro using flash cleanse to get out of was it a Malphite ult? I think it was something crazy like that. He was
Yep.
snared, and then Malphite ults in on him, and he literally cleanse flashes almost instantaneously, gets
Yep.
out, survives the fight. Afro with the skills to do that this time around, but you got to think he's going up against double lift, so it's the battle of the superb micro. Both AD carries running flash cleanse, and ooh, an already interesting invade here planned by Team Fear. They're already grouped up here in the top bush by the upper tri bush, but double lift's waiting right there. Will they actually go in on this?
I don't know. Smithy, does he have his sphere? Anivia has leveled Flash Frost, so if she throws it into the bush, might be able to catch double lift. If he goes around behind the wall, he'll have no idea that he's been hit until everyone is collapsing in on him. That being said, it looks like CLG is going for a fairly defensive lineup, but Fear really wants to engage into this tri-brush. Double lift is going to be able to spot them out in case they do. He hasn't leveled anything up yet, so if he does get in trouble, he'll be able to level up that arcane shift and jump on out of there.
Yeah, we got really great game position or game sense here by Team Fear. They know what's going on. They kind of figured out where everybody is. You got to think with Orianna, you're going to be using the ball over the wall there in the middle lane to watch for things coming through that brush. So they kind of can tell the general area that Orianna's in, and just a really defensive stance early on. Let's just put it this way. If CLG had tried to invade through that upper tri-brush and come down for the blue buff, and then they would have just spotted them immediately. But as is, it looks like they're going for a late invade designed to either pick up a kill or heavily delay or deny this blue buff. So already a lot of pressure here as the members of Team Fear kind of group up around there. ManCloud pulls the blue buff,
Oh
and
no!
there it goes.
Yep, there's the Sonic Wave, and Fear definitely sees him. The smite comes out from Smithy, though. He'll be able to pick up the blue buff without too much trouble. Back off over to the turret. And then CLG, being the good guys that they are, clear out the little lizards there. No, they're
Yeah.
doing it. They're doing it so they can get the exact timer for blue buff, and then they'll be able to invade once again. But looks like a double lane swap coming out for both CLG and Fear. AD carry and support up in the top lane this time.
It's a really good job to kind of predict that, and so I'm not sure exactly who called that one way or another, but I'm gonna have to assume that it was in fact Gosu's Zuna, but you got to keep in mind that they give Hotshot blue buff and sent him bottom lane. So whenever you give your bottom laner blue buff and teleport, you got to think that CLG thought about this a little bit earlier, and he's actually going to teleport in here on red buff.
Yeah, he is. The Rupture does miss. Smithy has leveled up his Fear. Not available right now, though. There is nothing to really slow Smithy, and he has that dagger in case he needs to get away. Whoop, Rupture missing yet again. Up you go. No, you don't, Hotshot. Fortunately, you missed that, but now we have Zuna moving in to assist Smithy. There is yet another Rupture. Hotshot is just delaying this huge. In the meantime, we have had a Chowster ganking into the mid lane. Big Fat falling dangerously low. Hotshot had to back off because he saw that Mandatory Cloud was looking. Oh, there's the flash in on Mandatory Cloud. Red buff has been applied. Sonic Wave, and there's last auto attack. That is going to chunk him down into Egg. Chowster is still kicking that Egg. Smash. There goes the shell, but Smithy able to pick up the kill on Big Fat LP in the meantime, jumping in very nicely, seeing that Big Fat was just a little bit too far away. I believe that Big Fat had used Dissonance just a little bit too early there, and so it wasn't available to escape with. Loco Doco in the meantime, top lane, getting harassed down very, very low.
And oh my goodness, Smithy just came flying out of nowhere, flashing in there right on top of Orianna, and all of a sudden a free kill on Anivia turned into a 1-for-1, and Smithy, with those double buffs now, is kind of jumping on a Chowster, pops the fear. Is he going to fear into Smithy? No. That could have actually been a lot of damage on the Chowster. I don't think it would have picked up the kill, but I got to ask you, with this almost, like, this insane early game aggression, you saw Hotshot teleporting into a ward, taking a lot of damage bottom lane. What do you think about that early play there by Hotshot?
Well, I think that Zuna might be actually being in a little trouble. No, Hotshot falling dangerously low. Rupture does land. Oh no, and there's Chelsea getting invaded on Flash Frost. Does miss, but here's Smithy. There is the Duskbringer to pick up the kill, and now Big Fat going to get chased down by Mandatory Cloud, and just before the auto attack comes out, Pause gets used. Thankfully, the auto attack wasn't actually in mid-flight, otherwise we might get an infinite sound effect. But there she is. She's just about to throw it out. Not using Flash Frost quite yet, It is on a 4-second cooldown. If she can land that, that could potentially be a kill onto Big Fat if Xmithy can jump on that fast enough. He does have red buff, so once that's applied, it's going to be much easier. However, Mandatory Cloud has not yet taken a rank in that Crystallize, so he has leveled up Frostbite up to the 2nd level for the sort of burst that she wants.
Yeah, if there was a wall available, that'd be really huge because I feel like he'd be able to cast it in front of Big Fat LP and keep him from, well, making it back to lane safely. It wouldn't completely wall off the lane, but apparently we have some issues here. Somebody's taking a little bit of a break, but we'll be back here in just a second. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you, Fourth Oracle, like, I've been seeing a lot of those pushing strategies coming out from CLG. They did it so well in their first game, and they actually used it against absolute legends to make it all the way here. So how do you think they're gonna do split pushing or just pushing in general versus a Shen Anivia? It seems to me like that's a lot of wave clear that I don't think the same strategy is going to work very well against.
Well, there's a lot of wave clear on both sides, but what's important to note is Hotshot is running teleport, so he's going to be able to teleport into a fight if things get really hairy. So we may end up with Cho'Gath versus Shen, and this happened last time. I believe this was even the last time that I was personally casting Fear, now known as Fear, going up against CLG. You have Shen and then someone that can interrupt him with teleport down off in another lane. Neither of them can actually teleport to the fight because whoever teleports first is going to get interrupted immediately. And so you just end up in this stalemate in the bottom lane. Of course, Shen is going to be able to provide a little bit more help thanks to his Stand United providing a shield before he actually teleports. That being said, he's not going to be there for the main fight. I think that honestly, all we can really do at this point is wait. We'll have to wait and see. CLG has a really good team for diving, so perhaps what they want to do this game is wait it out, get to the point where they can tower dive, and then just jump in on them. I mean, think about it. You have Lee Sin, he can Q in, use that resonating strike, and then dragon kick someone away. If Loco Doco is going to be able to use Wild Growth on whoever is tanking the tower, then of course Orianna, with the speed up, slow down, huge AoE, and the lockdown potential, is going to combo with Cho'Gath, being played by Hotshot GG. And they're just going to be able to hold them underneath the tower as they finish them off.
That's a really good point to make. I think that's while we get the overlays working, it seems to me like the top lane, really interesting choice by both teams to put the 2v1. Well, I guess they thought it was going to be a 2v1 in that top lane, but good job by Fear to sort of counter that out. And like you said, with the 2 teleports, it's going to be, I think, in favor a little bit more of Hotshot. Like we saw from his last game, his Nidalee performance, he's just like, well, I'm a top laner, so I go to the top lane and I stay in top lane. And that's exactly what he did. He just continued pushing that down with Nidalee, doing a great job of shoving turrets in one by one, and something that Cho'Gath does really well. Shen kind of suffers from only being able to deal single target damage. I mean, if his taunt hit minions, then that'd be pretty great, but Cho'Gath has excellent amounts of AoE. And wow, it sounded like either Bill or Ted Preston there, because when you press through that wave as fast as you can as Cho'Gath, it's going to be really hard for Shen to kind of counter that. At least it's later on, the later levels that Cho'Gath does get in his Vorpal spikes. So I think Hotshot's going to have the pushing advantage and at least the sustain advantage through his passive Carnivore. So that's really going to help him in that lane. But I'm going to ask you, Fourth Oracle, what do you think about the rest of the lanes here as far as their matchups between Sphere and CLG?
Well, I like that we have Nunu and Kog'Maw in the same lane. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, Bioarcane Barrage is going to be doing more damage. So, I'll just go ahead and put Blood Boil on him. But it's more than that. It gives him a movement speed buff, and it's going to allow him to dodge around Ezreal's skill shots, as well as potentially be able to dodge the Glitter Lances that will be coming out from Loco Doco.
And I think that the dodging top lane is going to be so key. And keep in mind, it's double lift. He dodges basically everything. He's able to lift twice as much, and apparently dodge twice as much as well, because every time it seems like there's something that requires that dodging, it's like, oh, well, my name's double lift, so it just plain happens. Also, the cleanse is going to help a lot with that as well. So he's going to be able to like cleanse around the slow from Kog'Maw's Void Ooze, and then also avoid the able to cleanse the snowball coming out from Nunu as well. So with all of those defensive options, it feels like top lane is going to be a little bit stagnant. What do you think?
Stagnant, I don't know about that. The initiation potential both from Nunu and from Lulu, woo, that's a nice tongue twister. But the initiation potential from both of them is very, very strong, and the burst damage from Kog'Maw and Ezreal are both decent as well, especially as soon as Ezreal hits level 6. He's going to be able to have that true shot barrage. Lulu can lock someone down. It's going to be much easier to hit them with that. On the same token, though, Nunu has his Ice Blast, and as soon as that lands on either Loco Doco or Double Lift, it's going to be very easy to land those living artilleries. So I'd actually say that it could potentially, yes, be a very stale lane, but it also has a lot of chance for aggression, especially if Nocturne and Lee Sin come in for a gank.
I definitely think that the ganks are going to be what sort of start to push this game out of control for one team or another. You can see that Hotshot's actually below half health, and so is Go Suzuno. So both dangerously low, nowhere near 6 yet, so there's not going to be any sort of teleporting away and or om nom noms for the wins from feasts on Cho'Gath. But I think that the way that's at least Big Fat LP is positioned right now, you can see he's making an aggressive play, trying to get into the enemy jungle, but having it back out right now. So Fear doing a really good job of defending their objectives, making sure that they can keep people where they want them to, and more importantly, keep them out of where they don't want them. So already making a very strong statement, just saying, well, if you want to come into our jungle, we're going to have a lot of people here to stop you, and you're not going to have a good time. So trying to get both Double Lift and Loco Doco back into the game. Just in case you guys are wondering, we are paused waiting for a few technical issues to clear up, but should be getting this back to you for just a second. This is game 2 between Fear and CLG, Counterlogic Gaming North America. They are here in the second round of the IEM Cologne North American qualifiers here for League of Legends, and they will be getting back into, or if they win this game, they're going to take a 2-0 victory over Fear, as well as beating Absolute Legends in the first round and make it all the way to the grand finals. Now, the top 2 seeds from this tournament do wind up going, or the top 2 from this tournament wind up going to IEM Cologne, so they win their trip there, and that's going to be, well, basically all they're playing for. The third place match, however, is also of importance. If you do win the third place match between the two teams that, well, don't make it to the grand finals, then you are in that wild card slot. If somebody can't go, then you go, and that's, well, good enough for me. I mean, I would want that possibility if I were playing in this tournament. I mean, even if you lose, you have that second chance available if you pick up that third game. So it's still going to be something really important to watch, and we should be bringing that to you a little bit later on.
So right now, it looks like Double Lift and Loco Doco have both returned to the game. We'll see if it actually sticks. I'm not hearing anything from them in the chat. Hopefully we should be getting going. We're coming on a 9-minute pause right now. There is something I'd like to point out in the items. Obviously, the only person that has gone back to buy is Big Fat, besides, well, Chowster, who has just been killed. But Big Fat did die, and so he went back and got himself a Negatron cloak. What do you think he's trying to do with that? I think it's pretty obvious what he's going to do, but what sort of implications does this have for the near future of his laning?
Well, I feel like if at 4 minutes and 30 seconds I had a Negatron cloak, that'd be pretty impressive. But with only a null magic mantle, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult, or a little bit less difficult than if he had a Negatron cloak for Anivia to damage him. He's doubling Anivia in CS right now, which is pretty key because Anivia is forced to be in her jungle trying to defend it, or she makes her jungle and then she defenses it. And Big Fat LP finding exactly how strong that defense is, forced to back out. So it's worth losing a little bit of CS just to protect you and yours, and try to keep things and people exactly where they're supposed to be. So Big Fat LP trying to go in there and be in his own jungle, finds a couple of people there, so he won't be able to do that. So really aggressive play there made by Fear, and it's really kind of paying off, able to essentially dictate the pace of the game to CLG, say, well, this is our jungle now, so you need to get back into your lane, and it's cool if you CS there because we're going to be doing basically what we want for the rest of the map.
What I find interesting on the topic of the CS of the mid laners is it's so low right now. You look at the AD carries, Ephraim is 27, Doublelift has 22. Oh yeah, they look down at mid lane. Oh hey, Mandatory Cloud, how are you doing? Well, I have 4 CS. Then Doublelift's like, mine's way better. How much do you have? I have twice that. How much is that? 8. So the reason that this is important is because typically you have these mid laners. They're typically ganking either the top or bot lanes, but because their CS is so low, it's going to be much harder for them to gank, which means potentially a more passive mid lane, a more farm-oriented mid lane. But we are back into the game right now. Everyone, it looks like, is finally moving out to the respective lanes. Mandatory Cloud and Big Fat LP are indeed farming it up at long last. Locodoco and Doublelift backing. We'll see what they decide to buy Xmithy in his jungle as well. Red buff still has a lot of time on it, so he may be able to get 2 ganks off with that red buff before it expires.
And that's going to be huge. Nocturne able to actually already come out, go 2-0. He is sitting on a lot of gold. Actually has 1,400 in his inventory right now.
That is just plain massive. We can see in the bot lane, though, it looks like he's going to have to gank there because Zuna at half health right now. He is losing in CS just a little bit, but the tower is eating up a fair portion of these. Not quite able to CS this quite yet. And Hotshot looks like he's just going to keep pounding Zuna into the ground, but we do have Chowster in the mid lane, potentially looking for a gank, but there is a ward there. Yeah, Xmithy is coming into the bot lane. There is a taunt and flash. Fear goes out as well. Ignite is burning, and there is the rupture. Not going to be nearly enough. Oh no. Zuna getting a kill off on the gentleman Cho'Gath.
Oh my goodness.
Top lane, Muffin Cutie getting hit very hard. I thought Locodoco might have stepped in for a Glitter Lance, but they decided, engaging on the support, maybe not the best idea early on. You have Chowster coming in through the mid lane. Just saying, oh, hey, what's up? Just wanted to remind you that I'm here. Don't you try anything funny.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be anything funny about that. If that worked, then it would have been pretty cool. But unfortunately, no successful ganks so far, at least as far as... well, I mean, they got the 1 kill, so it's going to be 1 for Lee Sin. But other than that, it's just all been the Nocturne show. Look at what he picked up. He goes back, picks up Heart of Gold, a Longsword, Oracle's Elixir, and a ward, and then you look at Shen, goes back, just straight up picks up a Giant's Belt. So huge items already being able to be picked up here for Fear, and they're actually making a really strong case for themselves so early on in the game. Nocturne is going to start to snowball things out of control by denying ward coverage here across the map. I'm sure there aren't a lot out to deny already, just because, well, there's basically one, then Hotshot's going to place one bottom lane. So there are definitely some candidates out there, but without that early game map coverage, Nocturne can pretty much go where he wants, and the rest of his team can follow because they don't have to worry about being revealed. So really liking the early Oracles pickup there on Nocturne.
Yeah, and you also mentioned that the Giant's Belt was built on Zuna. It's interesting, he obviously had enough money for Heart of Gold. He was having a little trouble in the lane, but he still decided not to get it. But it looks like we do have a gank. Dustbringer does land on Hotshot GG. There comes the Fear. It is going to proc. Nice Rupture, going to knock them both up and slow them, but there is the taunt. Locking him down for just a little bit longer. They need just a little bit more damage. There's the Paranoia in. Dustbringer and Auto Attack are going to pick up the kill for Xmithy. He is 3-0-1 already. And you were talking about the sort of damage potential that Nocturne has. Well, he's looking to be extremely scary this game.
Make sure you are back up to live after the pause. I know I had to fast forward a little bit after that. But Smithy, yeah, Nocturne, something that Koreans run a lot of because they're so confident in their abilities. They just say basically, well, we're going to run Nocturne because we respect his ability to carry and snowball from the jungle. And if he doesn't do that, it's a little bit like Shaco, not quite on the same level, but basically you're jumping into the enemy team. So
Big Guy's in trouble. There's the Shadow Dash, and there's a burst from Mandatory Cloud. Frostbite picking up the kill. That is the sort of base damage that Anivia can put out. I want to see what he's going to pick up with that 1.6k in his pocket.
And I got to ask you, Fourth Oracle, where are the wards? Oh wait, there's an Oracle's on Nocturne. So already you can see how effective that is at clearing out the ward coverage and just making it so that ganks like that are possible. Already top lane having to shove that out, and Gosuzuna doing an extremely good job, not only facilitating not one but two ganks bottom lane, and allowing Nocturne, or allowing him to roam mid lane as well, helping pick up a kill there as well. So already a 5-1 advantage here against CLG for the members of Team Fear, and just really starting to get Nocturne super far ahead. He's able to continue his sort of reign of terror running around. Is probably going to go back up to that top lane, be able to clear out a couple of those wards, but it's going to be really, really rough for this early game phase, at least until CLG gets rid of that Oracles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the sort of detriments of having Orianna is she doesn't have too much in the way of escapes. She has her dissonance, which is very strong, but the moment she uses that, she's pretty much out of defensive options, barring her shockwave. So if she ends up using both those abilities, she doesn't have a whole lot of mobility besides that. Of course, barring flash. But as soon as that is burnt, which it is right now, she used it to try and escape before, but that is going to be down. Nocturne's Paranoia is going to be available much quicker than that flash. So we'll have to see if Xmithy goes for another gank in the mid lane.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see what Hotshot decides to do. He's building a Doran's Ring, so he may go for that straight-up AP build, but he's most likely just getting that for sustain and pushing power. He's going to go out there.
Yep, there, Xmithy going in with the Unspeakable Horror. Red buff has been applied as well. Flash in, flash out from Hotshot. Going to be able to save his life. That flash taunt in from Zuna unfortunately missed. Chouster was there. Going to plant down a pink ward and actually clear this ward out at Dragon. It is just after 10 minutes. This is when both teams are really starting to eye it, and we might see a lane swap from the ADs up in the top lane fairly soon.
But this is huge. That trade of Flash's bottom lane was amazing for Fear, because they are in the driver's seat. And yeah, once again, make sure to get back up to live if you're not already.
Yep.
But the problem is that without Flash, Hotshot's going to be that much easier to gank, and with that Oracles, you're just seeing Smithy devastate these wards, and that's really key, because on an aggressive jungler, somebody who jumps into the fight, Smithy is just no fear. Well, despite the one in his tag, he's just jumping in there saying, well, I have 400 extra gold sitting on my head, and I'm still going to jump into the middle of the enemy team and try to assassinate you. This is good early game, because it allows him to just kind of go into those 1v1 situations that aren't as dangerous as jumping into the entire enemy team. And there you can see him fighting Mandatory Cloud a little bit for some CS. But, you know, they're both friends. They both love to hang together. And now we're going to see that gank bottom lane. Where's Hotshot's Flash? Oh, wait, it's not available, because here comes Nocturne.
Yep, he does have the Unspeakable Horror ready. There is the Shadow Dash, and Hotshot is going to get feared. There is nothing he can do. Red buff isn't even there. Nice spell shield from Xmithy going to stop the Rupture. But are they going to be able to catch up? Mandatory Cloud is coming down. Duskbringer lands, and I think Xmithy will be able to catch up with this one. Yep, that last auto attack getting Xmithy 216 gold. Hotshot's not even worth 300 at this point anymore. Hotshot is 0-3, and he has bought a Heart of Gold, desperately attempting to catch up in gold, that is.
And also armor boots as well, so Ninja Tabi going to be a desperate attempt to sort of stem the tide of the damage that Smithy's been doing. He's going to go back, almost certainly complete his wriggles, and then maybe pick up some wards, or no, Berserker Greaves. This guy is going all out. That is just ridiculous amounts of damage already on Smithy, and keep in mind, it's only 12 minutes into the game, so as much as the rest of CLG is trying to push back on their other lanes, Nocturne's just continually crushing that bottom lane. And really, we haven't seen the same effectiveness out of Chouster. He had some effective early levels, or early ganks in level 1, but it's 1-1 for his score. He has that wriggles as well, but he's not 4-0, and here comes Smithy just completely denying that dragon attempt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not quite certain what Chouster was thinking. Maybe they could collapse in on it, but oh, it's Hoplin. We have it engaged. There is the Stand United on the Muffin Cutie, and yes, Gosuzuna is going to throw out this taunt onto Loco Doco. Loco Doco is not in a good place, but there is the Ice Blast. Oh, she uses her ultimate and her flash to get away from this, but Zuna able to use that Vorpal Blade to pick up that kill. Almost escaping, but some very nice play from Fear. Pings are going down by CLG, and there's the paranoia on the hot shot. Unspeakable Horror goes out as well. The silence does come out, but that's not going to be enough, I don't think. Here's Chowster and Big Fat to turn this around, though. Shockwave going to pull Mandatory Cloud in. He is going to get egged. Now, Xmithy jumping on the hot shot. He knows he is in a bad spot, but now he may lose his Oracles trying to pick up the kill on the hot shot. And yes, indeed he will. Chowster clearing out that Oracles on Xmithy. Finally, the reign of Nocturne may be over, but there's the resonating strike on the Mandatory Cloud, the slow as well. The cripple slowing him down just way too much. There's the command dissonance, and nice stun from Mandatory Cloud, but it's not going to be enough. Ooh, the ultimate from Ezreal. Just a little bit too late, you know, just like ensuring. Kill insurance. Kill insurance.
Pretty much, but that was an excellent trade there for CLG. They were able to pick up 2 for 1 as well as taking down that Oracles, sort of stopping the indomitable reign there for Nocturne. What does he do? He goes back and buys another Oracle's elixir. So that's the gold for 5 helping him out get a little bit of gold, as well as, you know, being 4-1-1 with 72 CS. So that's huge. And I mean, with that team fight under Chowster's belt, he's gonna go to 3-1. So he's starting to definitely come back, starting to get those same items similar on par there with Nocturne, although he hasn't completed the boots that Nocturne has, so still a big advantage there as far as attack speed is concerned. But what are we looking here for? I mean, last game we saw CLG with already like 2 or 3 turrets down by this time. They're not going for that turret strategy. What are we seeing here from CLG?
Oh, I think it's a little bit unfair to say, oh, they don't have 2 towers down by 15 minutes. Boy, they sure aren't doing well. Their team composition was really more made for it last time. This time, it's a little bit more traditional. It's a traditional lineup, you know, picking champions that they know they're strong with. They figure, hey, there's no reason to take a risk if we know that our mechanics are good. And we see that, in fact, they have been doing a fairly good job. No kills have gone down top lane, but Doublelift is about 20 CS over Aphromoo, so he's done a good job there. Big Fat is winning just by a little bit over Mandatory Cloud. They're essentially winning over all the lanes, but we may have an engagement down in the bot lane. If there's the Ice Ball and the Hot Shot, but nothing is really going to happen with that.
I think that besides just some minor harassment here and there, that's going to be Dragon actually seeing a lot of action around it. Usually one team will give it up, or one team will just exert so much pressure that the other one just gives up and we go back to our lanes and start things off. But everybody grouping up here around the middle lane, and things going off onto Nocturne. They know where he is. They know what a high priority target he is. At least at this point in the game. And where's Hotshot? Oh wait, he's top lane. He's going to keep shoving this wave in, and meanwhile we're going to see 3-on-1 bottom.
Yeah, Gosuzuna may be in a bad position here. There, the Polymorph comes out, but he is almost certainly going to fall to this. The kickback into the tower and the last auto attack from Doublelift will be enough to take that kill.
And with that kill, I think that signals CLG to go do Dragon, because there's not going to be that huge pressure that Zuna had down there in that bottom lane. Sure, Nocturne's there. He's going to be wave clearing, but not enough to keep CLG from taking this Dragon.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot they can do. Muffin Cutie is just around the corner, but no, their first Dragon of the game, going to CLG, really taking over that map presence they like. Oh, Shockwave in the meantime, top lane, and the feast on Aphromoo. Last auto attack from Big Fat LP, going to pick up that kill on poor Aphromoo. Taking Dragon, killing Aphromoo, I'd say that's a pretty good minute or so.
Yeah, CLG really kind of coming back here, and Hotshot going to get walled off. A ton of damage. The Ignite goes off as well, so a lot of damage done there by Mandatory Cloud, but just enough to force them off of the turret. So that's going to push Hotshot away, force him to burn his flash, but he still has his teleport available, so he's just going to walk back into lane and then continue that awesome split pushing that he's been so good at. And, you know, I was faulting CLG for not having turrets down, but really it's just such a contrast between that last game where they had tons of turrets down and this game where it's 2-0 in favor of Fear. So that early game advantage given to Nocturne, and sure, he's been a little bit tamed down from that, but it was really kind of snowballed into those first 2 turrets of the game. It's now 7-5, so it's 2 kills, 2 turrets, and let's see, about even gold actually. So that's pretty surprising, just because when you look at the CS numbers, they're exactly where they need to be, with one notable exception, and that is 150 CS to 120 on Kog'Maw.
Alright, so it looks like the stream is 2 seconds behind, so why don't we go ahead and pause for a couple of seconds so we can get lined up with that. There we go. I should be perfectly lined up now. So hopefully that frustration won't be there anymore. Yep, and here comes a teleport in from Hotshot. Shockwave completely whiffing, not nabbing anyone there, and that is going to be a huge waste from Big Fat. Will be down for the next 70 seconds.
Yeah,
oh, there's the paranoia, though, going in on Double Lift. Double Lift's in a hard spot. He uses his True Shot Barrage, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Taunt goes out, and Xmithy, with the last auto attack, able to pick up the kill and clears out a ward while he's at it, because second Oracles, baby. Oh, now Chowster might be in a bad spot. There's a slowdown and the Frostbite on Chowster. Safeguard away. Loco couldn't be able to use his Whimsy to speed himself up and get out of there. Fear now pushing the spot lane very, very hard. They may be able to take the tower in the near future.
All right, so we're back to live, so hopefully everybody's all synced up, ready to go, but just in time for pause. Okay, so this is going to be our, second, third pause of the game, but you know what? There's still plenty of stuff to talk about, because as much theory crafting as we did last time, there's plenty of opportunities to, okay, they're going to unpause. Wow. For reals? All right, well, no worries here. We're back into the game and ready to go.
Yep, and I'm back live as well, because it looks like that is whoopsie-daisy. All right, we'll go ahead and hop back. It's perfect live right there. There we go. And now it looks like Fear is indeed going to push down this tower. Alframu completely pounding on it. It is going to get paused. And we get infinite Anivia auto attack sound effect. Oh, never mind, it stopped. Okay, so it's not quite like your ultimate.
Okay, well, mine's live and going, so there's the pause. I don't know what's happening with the chronology of this game, but the pausing and unpausing is really taking a toll on everybody, so hopefully we can get that straightened out. I mean, I'm live and everything, it's great, so we're just going to go ahead and take care of business as usual, except that it's not letting me go to live, so that's a little bit rough. There we go. Everything back where it should be. Hotshot continuing to just sit top and push that all day long. You see his next part of the build is a Negatron cloak and a Ruby Crystal, so it might go for some magic penetration. He's probably just going to go for maybe an Abyssal Scepter a little bit later on, but you can see a little bit of a deviation from just the straight 100% tank build, and he's probably going to be able to take this top turret before Shen can get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Feast a Minion, he is at 3 stacks right now. The faster he can get to 6 stacks, the faster he can get that Oracles. Oracles is rather good on Cho'Gath, specifically because he can hold onto it so easily. It's so difficult to kill a 6-stack Cho'Gath. We'll see if he decides to be the one to wear that Oracles, or if they decide to put it onto Loco Doco. And it seems like Zuna is actually going for an Aegis of the Legion this game. That's sort of an interesting pickup. If he is going to be split pushing, as the Sunfire Cape would suggest, then the Aegis isn't always going to be there for that team fight. I'm a little bit confused by that pickup, you might say.
Yeah, I think that's Aegis, such a huge item on Nocturne. When you get Aegis, when you jump into the team fight, well, that's AoE armor and, well, stats for everybody around you, including that attack damage, which is so huge because you're building defensive items and you get offensive benefits from them. It just makes it one of the best items in the game for its cost. And when you're 5-1, you can put any item you basically want on your champion and do a ton of damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see like a Brutalizer coming out here from Nocturne, although it could also be a Phage. I'd like to see the Phage a little bit more because it's, well, it's not ridiculous amounts of damage, kind of WTF-ness, but Hotshot just running ahead of the minions, tanking up that turret, auto-attacking it, and saying, well, you're too slow, Go Suzuna, so screw you.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot. This is what you were talking about earlier. Azuna can't really do a whole lot to Hotshot's pushing potential. Ooh, stopping the Shadow Dash with the Rupture there. That was pretty tricky. He actually, that's interesting. So Azuna wasn't able to get the full Shadow Dash off because he got knocked up while he was in the middle of it. So that can be canceled like that. Something we may have to keep in mind in future team fights. But that is what you were saying earlier. Chowster and Xmithy seeing each other, but they, it's what you're talking about. Hotshot, he can just push all he likes. He can clear much faster. And he can do a lot more damage than Zuna at this point, thanks to his Whirlpool Spikes, going to be adding extra damage on each of his attacks, plus, of course, his Feast, giving him not only extra health, but, of course, that huge burst of true damage.
Yeah, the burst of true damage, that's pretty much why you go Cho'Gath, just because it's like, well, I'm super tanky, and all of a sudden I deal a million damage for no reason. And that's why you go AP Cho'Gath, because then you deal 2 million damage. It's like, well, that number is also slightly facetious, but also slightly delicious when you're Cho'Gath. It's just like, nom, 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 all over the place, and it's great. But what is also great is look at how fast he's pushing. He can't actually take damage from Zuna because he heals so much from Carnivore.
Yeah, Carnivore giving him extra health and mana each time. Now Zuna trying to do something to Hotshot, It looks like they just can't do anything to each other unless Chowster were to come around from behind. He has red buff. Sonic Wave goes out, does land. Ooh, dodges away from the Rupture, but the slow is there. There is the cripple. Tries to silence him. Ooh, the kick away because here comes Muffin Cutie. Chowster is getting exhausted, and there's the absolute zero. Goes off for an almost full channel right there, but they are essentially just tanks pounding on each other. There's not a whole lot they can do. Dragon goes down in the meantime. Fear able to pick that one up without any contest. Muffin Cutie still getting slowed. No, red buff has timed out on Chowster during this fight. Ooh, a nice ultimate from Ezreal. That true shot barrage hitting Zuna and forcing him away because he is in feast range of Hotshot, I should say. And with that power, CLG are going to take the top inner tower for Fear's taking Dragon.
Yeah, and so by their powers combined, they do go ahead and take that top turret, which is not quite as awesome as a few other things, but it's going to be exactly what I was talking about earlier, or rather what I was confused about. I was like, well, how are they going to do their pushing strategies that are such the focal point of so many of their different compositions? And, well, here it is. They're just using Cho'Gath and exerting high pressure elsewhere on the map, able to go ahead and take down that next turret. So they're still down a turret, which is pretty huge, but as far as Nocturne's concerned, that dragon counter was something that he was very, very well equipped to do. So, I mean, sure, they've taken down 2 turrets top lane, and that's a little bit rough, but with a Shen, you should be able to keep that adequately pushed out as long as he just, split pushes up in that lane. It's really going to be up to Fear to try to, well, do something to instill some fear into CLG, because right now they're kind of calming down. They're kind of stepping back and saying, well, you know what, that early game was kind of rough, but all the kills are on Nocturne, so let's just chill out, relax, and try to make the best out of the situation. And they're doing a really good job of that with as much as they are split pushing.
Oh, in bot lane, double lift. I think he is indeed going to be able to recall before he gets taken out, but now Hotshot might be in a bit of trouble because here is Xmithy. Does not shield the Rupture, brings the Shroud of Darkness a little bit too early, but here's Chowster and Lokodoko to help defend them. Cripple goes out. I'm sure that the Wild Growth will go out onto Chowster sometime soon, unless she can't catch up. True Shot Barrage going to entirely miss. Dragon kicking Xmithy back into the team. He uses Paranoia looking for someone to jump to, but there is no one available, and that is going to be Hotshot picking up the kill with Rupture. CLG in a strong spot right now, but now, oh, double lift flashing over the wall, Arcane shifting over the wall, not forced to use that flash quite yet, getting chunked down to 100 HP by Mandatory Cloud and Muffin Cutie, but now they may be in trouble. Rupture goes out, misses, but there's a Shadow Dash. I believe that Muffin Cutie is able to flash away from that. There is the Shockwave, though, and the ultimate from Lulu to slow them all down. Zuna jumps back in and flashes away. Not quite certain exactly why he did that, buying Mandatory Cloud a little bit of time, perhaps. But CLG looks like they want to try and push this down. Xmithy coming back in 3 seconds. Paranoia will not be available for another 90. So CLG, they feel pretty safe right now. They can keep their sweet, sweet Orianna and Ezreal safe as long as that Paranoia is not available. It looks like they might try to engage onto this. No, they will not. Throws the Rupture onto Aframu. Slow as well, but they're just trying to keep him off of tower as they finish it off. This is the sort of CLG that we know and love, or potentially hate if you hate push strategies. But it is working out quite well for them. They have all outer towers and 1 inner tower down already. That's 4 towers, 4-3 right now, and they certainly have the map advantage right now, especially with that inner turret top tower. That minion wave, every time they push it out, going to be harder and harder for Fear to take control of that Baron, which both teams should be looking at right now.
And I think that once both teams look towards that Baron, I actually have to give a lot of the pressure here to Fear. When you look at the items that have been picked up, you have that Wits End Sunfire Cape combo, which we actually saw Hotshot build on Elise yesterday in his games in the Rocket King of the Hill versus CLG Black. And now here seeing them on Shen, it's just so many defensive stats. Why is Smithy way up there? He's just looking for the Fear, forcing his team to initiate almost.
He was looking to try and catch one of them out. Nobody was actually around to jump in.
There's 3 people there.
It would have been a 3v3, but I think the advantage was in Fear's favor because they had a little bit more utility. I think with Nunu, the absolute zero was up. Nocturne, he does have those 5 kills. He is rather built, and this is precisely what you predicted. He got himself a Phage, and he's going to be able to chase down whoever he uses Paranoia on very quickly.
Well, and it's not even about his ability to chase them down. It's, hey, what can we do to stop the split pushing, which is pretty much the only backbone that CLG has right now. You have Aphromoo top lane because you recognize, well, Shen's not going to be able to deal effectively with Hotshot GG, at least at this point in time. He's gone back down to that bottom lane, but he could get caught out by Chowster and Doublelift.
Yep, that was some nice moves from both of them, but I think that Zuna is just a little bit too slow to get out of this one. Yes, Doublelift, I believe, yes, that auto attack going to pick up that kill. I almost thought that Doublelift arcane shifted over the wall and then Chowster safeguarded over to him, but no, he burned a ward just out of habit. So it looks like, though, in the mid lane, Hotshot looking for an engagement. Void Ooze going to keep him away. The Rupture misses. There's the silence and the Q coming out from Locodoco. Not going to be able to really do anything with that, though. The Glitter Lance just not quite strong enough, I guess. Here's Chowster coming in from behind, though, looking for a kick, but he gets exhausted. Safeguards over to Hotshot GG to try and save himself. Rupture lands on both Xmithie and Aphromoo, and the True Shot Barrage. The last couple of auto attacks from Doublelift will pick up the kill for himself. CLG pushing down on this mid tower very hard. Silence goes out. Aphromoo trying his best to push everyone off. His damage is quite immense right now. And so I think he will indeed be able to push them off. Doublelift taking a lot of damage. The Shockwave comes out, only hits Muffin Cutie, flashes away from the Rupture. Wouldn't have hit him anyways, but he will be able to get out of there safely. Aphromoo doing a good job of single-handedly defending this tower from the push.
Yeah, and just really kind of standing up there saying, you know what, come at me, bros. If you guys don't want to send somebody in here to, like, the meat grinder to die, then, you know, go right ahead, because that's exactly what Aphromoo is right now. He's almost got his Phantom Dancer. In fact, I think, could he go back and buy that right now? I think, you know, he's about 500, 600 gold away from that, so he's going to have to farm a few more waves before his not his Bloodthirster, his Phantom Dancer is complete, but he already has that Infinity Edge with 222 CS. And then you look at farm on Doublelift, it's about 50 higher, and you realize that with this 3-in-1 score and his Infinity or his Bloodthirster and Trinity Force, it's just like, well, that's some WTF damage there. No, if you're in a bad point, or are they?
They might get caught out. Rupture goes out. Locodoco in a lot of trouble, and there is the pause. Oh no, Locodoco, he wasn't moving during that. He wasn't moving. He had DC'd. Oh no, poor Locodoco, and it sounds like we are going to go ahead and get the paranoia sound through all of this. So hopefully repetitious exposure to a feared stimulus will help all of you become a little bit less afraid of that paranoia from now on.
And or just really freaking scared, because like I remember when Nocturne first came out and his jump range was basically global, so anytime Paranoia went off you just freaking ran for the hills. Like I remember when I'd have Nocturnes on my team and I'm like, I need to like go hide in a hole somewhere because that is absolutely ridiculous. So that's a kind of terrifying sound effect to have. But something to note here is that, well, being DC'd sucks, and so that's a little bit rough to deal with, and I mean, I'm sure CLG knows that, and so we're all bearing with them and trying to make the best out of the situation. But I guess it's a, you know, good on Fear for saying, hey, that's a vulnerable champion, let's go jump on him. Oh wait, CLG have been DCing all the time, and yeah. There's not a lot of gentlemanly conduct there, but it's not like he had a giant sign above his head and said, "I'm out of position, guys. Don't kill me because I'm DC'd." I mean, I wish I had that sign over my head because I overextend a lot too, so having a little bit of issues in that area. But so Smithy's gonna burn the ultimate. He's gonna go in there, and I mean, almost certainly Locodoco is gonna die. I mean, he's sitting with about what is that, 700 HP currently. Can I actually click on that? No, apparently I can't, so that's a little bit rough.
Oh, what are you looking at?
I was looking at Locodoco's HP currently.
Oh yeah, I can look at that. He is at 587 right now, so effectively dead.
Well, that's effectively bad because well, it's 8-9 right now, so that would tie up the score, make it 9-9 even in that respect. But Fear is down a turret after some really excellent pushing across the map, taking 2 turrets top lane, and then really having to sit Shen up there to stop Hotshot GG from well, being as massive as he was. But now he's right in the middle, and you look at that size difference. Like literally Nocturne could fit inside Cho'Gath's top hat right now because he is just so ridiculously huge. Well, I guess Hotshot is. And is that going to be enough in this team team fight, though, you look at Orianna's positioning, way too far away to be effective. And then you look at Aphromu's positioning, and you realize that, well, he's kind of right there. So that's going to be a little bit more effective. Double lifts in the back, he can get some DPS off, but even he's still a little bit farther away. And so great initiate here by Fear. But, I mean, do you think CLG can pull this out?
I honestly don't know. Not having Loco Doco, not having that wild growth is going to be really, really tough, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to recover from it, especially with the sort of AoE that Mandatory Cloud is going to be bringing out, and how, I wouldn't say fed, he actually is not fed, but he's certainly hitting his prime at this point. Aphromu is going to be able to rip through the tankiness of Zuna and Muffin Cutie, so honestly, things looking rather dire for CLG. On top of that, Big Fat LP hasn't even joined the fight yet. He is way back behind Blue Buff, and Double Lift is yet a second or two out. And so they're going to be losing a lot of DPS because of that. And they'll be able to get rid of Zuna, and then there will be nobody left to keep Big Fat and Double Lift safe.
And I think that's, yeah, that's huge. Every time you can't keep your carry safe, well, they basically can't be in the fight. So it's basically like, well, you kind of have to not let them fight. And that's why you have tanks in the game. That's why you have Cho'Gaths and, to a lesser extent, Shens. You just put them in the fight to peel for your AD carries. And, well, if you don't have that, or if you just don't have a support, and keep in mind, Loco Doco's ult would have been huge in this team fight, because essentially you use that to peel for your carries to stop the initiates, to get initiates, and without that, and basically without a support in this situation, it's 4v5 at best, and those are not odds I would like to see.
Absolutely not. Loco Doco will certainly be falling as soon as we're done. She does have the fear on her, so Nocturne, being played by Xmithy, going to be ripping through her. We see he got 5 kills really early on, but now he's starting to drop off. He has 3 deaths, he died 3 times, and it seems like he's sort of hit that point in his build. His time has already been done. His time is already gone. And so he's not going to be nearly as scary as he has been in this early game, but he definitely served his purpose. He helped out Mandatory Cloud a decent bit. Unfortunately, though, we do see 2 kills on Big Fat LP, and he is almost at his Rabadon's death cap. He already has that Athene's Unholy Grail, and man, Big Fat is really hurting right now. Despite the amazing ganks from Xmithy, he just doesn't have the damage to justify so many kills on the jungler, I don't think.
Definitely. I'm actually, during the pause, crashed out of the game, but have reconnected myself. So there's, it's not just CLG, it's also a lot of these post-patch issues going on here, apparently. But it looks like we are all into the game, I hope. I mean, things have kind of shifted here for me since I was last here, but I do have to jump back up to live. It's really confusing because whenever you do pause, you do desync from one another, so it's a little bit interesting for that. Hopefully we will all be up to speed when the team fight starts. I'm actually looking at the screen when it paused and then loading back in and looking at the screen that I see now, and Loco Doco is actually running away, so things have definitely changed. He's left the game, now he's coming back into the game. I'm not totally sure about what's going on, but we should have some results here for you guys in just a second, so hang with us. This is game 2 between Fear and CLG North America. If CLG win this game, then they go to IEM Cologne. Like, they're just into it because they've already won 1 game versus Fear, and the top 2 out of the tournament actually get that trip to Cologne. When you get to 3rd place, which it would be the position that Fear would be in if they lost this game, well, then you have to battle it out for the wild card spot. Essentially, if either CLG or the winner of the next match in the lower part of the bracket, if they can't go, then you get that spot. So that's why we play a 3rd place match, which will be on a little bit later on. We do only have 11 minutes left here, so hopefully in that time everybody can get their stuff together, because otherwise it's going to be really unfortunate, because, I mean, that jeopardizes CLG's chance here. I mean, they're in a pretty decent position, although not with all of the disconnects and something, so it's going to be a little bit painful for them in this fight, but, I mean, I got to ask you, Fourth Oracle, do you feel like this fight is key enough so that if it goes too badly, CLG won't be able to come back?
Well, one of the important things to note is that Dragon has just spawned. It's right there. That's sort of why both these teams are fighting this fight in the first place. And because of the small gold difference between the teams, I think it could potentially be very important. Fear is a bit behind in gold. They'll win this team fight, and then they'll take Dragon. This will put them back at almost even with CLG. However, if CLG takes this Dragon, that is going to put them at about, I'd say, let's see, 44, so about 5k gold difference. That's pretty considerable. The gold is pretty spread out over all the members, but everyone is getting decently built, and so I feel like when the gold is sort of spread out like that, Dragon becomes that much more effective because everyone is going to be utilizing it a lot in the fight. And so I think if CLG, losing this Dragon, they are losing a very large opportunity to really get ahead in this game.
All right, so it does look like everybody's back into the game. Kog'Maw, Aphromoo says that his crit is in the air flying towards Loco Doco, and if Loco survives this, then he gets to live, but if he doesn't, then he doesn't. And Chowster saying that he's AP Lee, so his shield's going to shield him for about 1,000 damage. That's not actually the case. Everybody looks like they're ready, so we should be able to get this game unpaused and ready to go here in just a second. Things should be heating up here, and gotta realize we're coming in to the middle of a team fight. This is gonna be really, really clutch situation here for CLG. Can they pull this out? Can they bring this back? And Logo Doco saying, can we unpause and pause really quickly so that Double Lift and I can catch up to the fight? I'm not sure that's gonna be quite legit, so I just want to see everybody unpause and get ready back into this game. Hopefully everybody plays nicely. I'm gonna let Fourth Oracle cover the action.
Yeah, it looks like Hotshot is talking to the ISP right now. Yeah, Lulu saying, yeah. Yeah, everything is all this conversation is happening within the same second, according to the chat. I highly doubt that is actually the case. But yeah, oh, yep, it looks like we are indeed going to be resuming in 2, 1, and let's see exactly what happens. Nope.
Hey,
maybe not.
I heard pauses are pretty cool.
Yeah, those are pretty cool, and it's a good thing we're getting a lot of them, and for very, very long durations. Chowster saying, mercy please, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we are back in. Loco Doco is indeed going to drop after picking up that kill. Now Zuna in a fair bit of trouble. Nice dragon kick, going to knock everyone up. Hotshot GG feasting Mandatory Cloud. He's going to have to stay away from this one. Absolute Zero being popped out a nice stand denied from Mandatory Cloud, going to keep Mandatory Cloud safe. Chowster actually double lift picking up Xmithy, so he is now out of this fight. Zuna able to pick up the kill on Big Fat LP. Now the only real damage dealer is double lift left on CLG. Hotshot GG being chased down. Nice wall going to cut him off. True Shot Barrage only going to land a Mandatory Club, but Chowster might be able to finish him off now. Aphromoo popping his Flint, but he is going to fall. Will the Kathian surprise be able to do anything? Fear coming out on top in this fight so far. 2 for 3. Chowster being chased down very, very quickly. Ice Ball goes out slow for Mandatory Cloud. Flash Frost. Frostbite. Not enough frost. Come on, we need more ice on Chowster to catch up to him. Oh, yep, there is the ice ball, and they're going to leave Zuna to finish up this kill. Yes, Vorpal Blade to the spine to finish that one up.
Wow, that makes it sound even more like Mortal Kombat, because, I mean, we've seen a lot of Ghost of Zuna's awesome Shen skins, but, yeah, best team fight NA. I'm not sure about that one, because it was kind of one-sided, but then you saw that huge rupture at the end where, basically, Hotshot just knocked everyone up into the air, and he's going to teleport back down to Dragon, scare them off, and do it himself.
This is perfect, and this is really going... Oh, no, Zuna is here, though. Is he going to be able to chase Hotshot off of this? Hotshot does have his feast available, 1,000 true damage as soon as it gets chunked down, but here's the rest of Fear to lock him down. No! The smite from Xmithy picks it up, and now Hotshot is in a big heap of trouble. Nice Shockwing, Big Fat LP going to lock down Mandatory Cloud and Xmithy, and I think Mandatory Cloud might fall. No! Big Fat gets taken down. Now Hotshot throwing out the Scream. Not quite enough. Mandatory Cloud just trying to kite away. Throws out the Flash Frost. Actually, a little too early, but Hotshot is able to get taken down. I wouldn't say he's really able to in that case. But there's the Duskmere out on double lift. The ultimate from Ezreal actually missed, but he is still going to pick up Zuna as a consolation prize. Yes, there it is. Double lift picking up the kill there. Dragon was smited. It looks like he wants to jump over the wall like Xmithy is going to use Unspeakable Horror on him. Shields the Sonic Wave, so Chaucer has to safeguard in, going to slow everyone with Cripple, but Absolute Zero is going to slow him down. He is walking through Void Ooze. Aphromoo has red buff on him right now, was able to slow down Chaucer a decent bit, but he will be able to get away from this one.
Okay, well, now that we're down through the action, let's go ahead and go back up to live so that everybody is synced up with everybody else, and we can get back into, well, basically what's happening for, well, the actual game. It's Aphromoo, Muffin Cutie down in bottom lane. I am currently at 40, 41, 42, and that should be synced up for everybody else.
Yes, indeed. I believe we went to live as soon as that first fight was over, so we should be good for now. Double lift. He does have red buff. He did just pick it up, and so he is going to back. Where are they going to fight? We see that Big Fat LP, he has 1k in his pocket right now, wants to go and farm. What is he going to be buying next? It looks like it's going to be a Rabadon's, and as soon as Big Fat finishes that Rabadon's, he is going to be hurting a lot more in these team fights. He is going to be putting the ball on Chaucer and locking everyone down with Shockwave.
Well, that kind of goes without saying. It's like, well, you build AP, you do more damage, but what's so key about that to notice is that Orianna's not just like a Syndra or a LeBlanc. She's not just an O or a Veigar, for that matter. I can just kill one champion, it's great. It's so much AoE from her that it really
sorry,
has...
Muffin Cutie was aggroed by Baron, and Chaucer picking up that kill. Nice little move from Loco Doco. Hitting, he has been stunned. Are they going to do anything about this? There is the Crystallize to try and lock him out. That's not going to happen. Loco Doco can clear that ward out real quick. Flash Frost comes out again, not going to hit anything. So Muffin Cutie is not going to be a part of this fight. He was taken out. Loco Doco getting bursted down rather hard. Shield comes out on him. Double Lift wants to finish this up. There's the Paranoia in. Chaucer gets the kill on it. Now Xmithy running for his life. Randuin has been popped. Mandatory Cloud getting locked down by the ultimate from Orianna. Gets kicked into the bush. Pops the Zonius to try and keep himself longer for just a little bit. Keeping himself alive a little bit longer, but he will fall. Aphromoo getting Shen's ult used on him, and he's just barely going to survive. Nice Shadow Dash over the wall from Zuna to keep himself going, but it looks like the slowdown from Orianna, or the speed up from Orianna, going to allow Double Lift pick up that kill. Now Xmithy in a lot of trouble. Yes.
Oh my goodness, Double Lift.
Double Lift going to get that kill and the triple kill on Aphromoo after doing an arcane shift over to him. CLG coming out on top in this fight, 4-0, and this is almost certainly going to be an inhibitor.
And Double Lift is definitely getting his revenge for them picking off his support Loco Doco a little bit earlier on. That treble was amazing, and the Baron even better of an idea there. Chaucer just kind of leading the way in there. Actually did smite the Baron under the most adverse of situations. Did actually, let's see, take that one down at 33:58. So in 7 minutes at 40:17, or yeah, 40:58, we're going to see that one respawn, and well, we'll do the whole thing over again. But I'm not even sure the game's going to last that long. If you look at the tower situation, it's 6-3 in favor of CLG. This really looking reminiscent of the last game, as CLG just have so many advantages across the map. They have 3 turrets down middle lane, 1 bottom, and then 2 top. So it's just not looking good as far as, well, the out-of-base situation for Fear right now. They're going to have to play this extremely carefully. I mean, there is a Guardian Angel on Double Lifts right now as the sort of the dividends of that last fight, because, well, when you can't die, or you can die twice, that screws up all sorts of 4-letter abbreviated phrases, as well as your kind of general strategy for killing the AD carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we have Fear stuck in their base. Anivia going to be able to clear out these minions fairly easily, but the split push from CLG is rather significant. Chaucer looks like he might be able to take this down. Fear's looking for an initiation. The ball is on Chaucer. Big Fat might be looking for an engagement here, but Aphromoo and Mandatory Cloud are staying far, far away from this tower. It has just now fallen. Hotshot maybe looking for a good engagement with his Rupture. Coming in just a moment, he has started tanking tower. Rupture completely misses everyone. Fear moving nicely to evade that, and so Hotshot actually going to tank up this tower for just a moment. Crystallize to keep them all away. The Shadow Dash in doesn't really hit anyone. Silence onto the entirety of Fear is going to stop them from following up on it. But Aphromoo poking them down very hard. There's a Rupture on Mandatory Cloud. He has been poked down to about half health right now. Wow, Fear really not doing as well as they need to keep CLG off of this tower. Baron is on CLG right now. It is providing them with a lot of regen. Wow, True Shot Barrage from Double Lift doing quite a bit of damage, and Chaucer coming around from the side. He may be looking for an engagement. All he needs is to get a dragon kick on one important target, or even an unimportant target, but now Zuna might be the target there. Flashes away from the Rupture, and so he's going to survive that, but this bottom tower is going to go down Void Ooze to make sure that there is no chase. Instead, they're just going to let this bottom inhibitor fall. Super minions are coming down the mid lane. Things are looking dire for Fear. There is the Rupture out, not going to hit anything. It looks like CLG just wants to clear these minions out. Aphromoo getting poked out rather hard. Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike into Xmithie, and the huge ult from Orianna gonna lock everyone down. Mandatory Cloud getting shielded by Shen, but it might not be enough. There, Xmithie getting completely picked off right there, throwing out the Dust Screen to try and lay down a little bit of damage, but it's not going to happen. Shurelya's Reverie being used by Loco so everyone can jump into Mandatory Cloud, but Zuna doing a good job of keeping them away from him, but Zuna is now going to fall. Pops Randuin's will indeed fall down. Double Lift picking up that kill. Xmithie now looking for something, but he is all out on his own. And Chaucer flashes in, gets the Dragon Strike for the kill. Aphromoo now completely away from the fight. Mandatory Cloud able to pick off Loco with a nice frostbite, but I don't think it will matter. Oh, Mandatory Cloud really going crazy right now after he has respawned, but everyone is pounding on the Nexus. CLG just wants to finish this, and there it is. CLG finally finishing the Nexus off in this drawn-out fight to take this semifinal series 2-0. They are going to Cologne, Germany, and they are about to play in the best-of-3 finals against Dignitas, I believe it was, who won their game against Team Dynamic.
Wow, so an epic series to close out this game between CLG North America and Team Fear. A little bit unfortunate that early start couldn't exactly get snowballed there into the win that Fear needed. I mean, they were so far ahead early on with Smithy just getting kill after kill after kill, but you just saw him not be able to carry it hard enough. A 1-3 Aphromoo, no matter if you do have that Phantom Dancer Infinity Edge, he just didn't get it fast enough to make the huge impact that a Kog'Maw can